the ability to take up to tier 3 without feeling that much of a pressure. Rifleman hanging around in the north, probably getting ready to set up a flank, and we have both supply yard level 1 upgrade for our American player, as well as a tank depot up. So that means we must probably gonna be seeing some heavy armor out of him shortly. Given the fact that the Puma is already on the field, he could be getting an M10. Actually, he's not getting an M10. He's getting a Wolverine. Is that a Wolverine? How is it called? I'm totally blanking out right now. And that's because I never got Tales of Valor, and I don't know how those things are called. But the moment it pops out, I'll let you know, and myself know how it's called. A kind of a weak flank coming out by our American player results in him losing an engineer squad, riflemen in the west portion of the map, a sniper is even out from our Wehrmacht player, other riflemen getting pinned, artillery strike coming down on the position of the MG42, but the MG42 is able to move out of that area soon, and of course what I call the Wolverine is actually an Hellcat, an M18 Hellcat. There you go. That's your Tales of Valor addition to the to the American armored arsenal. However, that Wolverine is going to be facing against the Stug and even hit a mine. The Stug, of course, is more could easily take on the Wolverine, given that the Wolverine's penetration is kind of crappy against the frontal armor of the Stug without its cloak bonus, so there you go. Manpower and fuel down the drain for our American player. And now with the Stug in the field, I guess, and of course the first Puma, I guess the Wehrmacht player will be feeling rather confident in moving out of that position that he had in his control, that, you know, the east portion of the map, in which he kind of confined himself in order to be able to fight all those riflemen, the engineers with the flamers, the bars, and all that good stuff from our American player. 3 riflemen moving in from the north, some of them getting veterans in the process. Are they going to be attempting to throw a sticky? Not so sure. Sniper is still around, the Puma is still around, and there is no AT gun out by our American players, so those armor by the Wehrmacht player is going to be safe for the time being. The company indication, of course, is that he went infantry. It was really evident from the first moment of him using the off-map artillery barrage. And now we even have 2 snipers. 2 snipers by our Wehrmacht player. And one of them actually going down to the artillery strike by the Medbanger. I'm not so sure of the artillery usage in order to take out the Medbanger, given the increased health of the latter. And we had some attempt at the flank in the west, or more of an attempt at the harassment by our American player. It didn't seem to work out. In the mid, once again, riflemen had to retreat under the fire of the Puma and the Stug, and we once again have a loss of an engineer squad by the medium munition point near that stone house. Yeah, actually the squad losses for American players seems to have been increasing as time goes by, and maybe it's a time for a time sync. We are at 18 minutes, 27, 28, 29, 30 second mark, and yeah, I'm not so sure how the American player is gonna follow up his early infantry heavy play with his the upgrades that he get that he got. He has a Sherman on the field right now. He will be upgrading it with the gunner. It's gonna be a kind of good against more than good actually against infantry, but although our American player really does not have to fear some sort of super tank coming out of the Wehrmacht player's side, since defensive does not have super tank Collins. He still have to worry of more Stugs on the field and of them getting veterancing. Something that may actually be quite soon, since our Wehrmacht player just got his Kampfkrab center up. Attempt at a flank in the west portion of the map by our American player. Sniper retreats under the fire of those flame engineers. However, the Puma is quick to go there, take shots on the engineers, kill that engineer squad, and the MG42 will be making out of there, despite the fact of those riflemen flanking it from the side. Now, as you see, the Sherman is really not good against the Stug. The Stug is almost at full health. The Sherman is down to like 5% health, and we're most probably going to be going down to the Stug rather soon, unless of course the Sherman micros its way out of the arc of fire of the Stug behind the hedges, and that seems to be the case. So that's actually a win for our American player, and the Stug gets a sticky for its trouble. Will be driving slowly back towards the Wehrmacht position and will be shortly getting repaired, I guess. And I would say the Wehrmacht player really hasn't lost much of his squads, except for that sniper going at the artillery. He still has 2 MG42s. He does have a lot of pioneers, 2 actually, maybe even the initial ones. Let's see. Yeah, they still have flamers, 2 kills on some of them. Maybe he didn't actually lose a pioneer squad, which is really good. He certainly didn't lose a folk squad, since one of them has 13 kills, and I don't remember losing an MG42. So yeah, very good unit preservation by our Wehrmacht player. Really puts the pressure on manpower wise on the American player, who has lost a lot of squads during the early to mid game. So I'm not sure what the course of action will be by our American player from now on. He does know there are Stugs on the field. He does know that his riflemen are not going to be that effective against two Pumas and a sniper, and those 2 MG42s guarding. Actually, the MG42s guard the victory points. And why do they guard the victory points, you would ask? And once again, I failed to realize the victory point situation, which is rather grim for our Wehrmacht player that stands at 31 victory points against 422 for our American player. So once again, we may be seeing that those it's actually, this starts to happen rather more frequently. There's that victory point situation where the Wehrmacht player really does not have a lot of victory points, but the American player, in his attempt to have control of it for most of the game, has lost a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying that those rifleman engineers went down because they were trying to cap victory points, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Overcommitment, that's what I'm saying. And overcommitment that maybe has not shown itself up to now, but that 31 number is really tempting for any American player to try to make a move for the victory points, get them in his control, and try to keep them for a minute or two so that he wins the game. But let's see how that's going to play out here, with a very good defensive position by our Wehrmacht player. And the Sherman has been repaired, tries to make its way towards the east of the map. The Stug, however, promptly responds, will be taking shots on the rear armor of the Sherman. And actually, that was not a false squad in the Stonehouse, it was an MG42, so the Wehrmachtler must have lost one false squad, but instead he got another MG42, so he has 3 on the field right now. 2 Shermans taking shots on that Stug, however the Stug will be moving behind the Stonehouse, will be kind of safe for the time being. Once again an attempt, as we see on the tactical map, by our American player to move in towards the Wehrmacht player's position in the west most victory point. Forces that MG42 out of there, however the Puma is still around and the second Puma make its way there. We even have an MG42 bunker, by the way, covering the central victory point, so as I said, the defensive position by our Wehrmacht player is really strong. And we even have an 88 flak gun to complement the anti-armor capabilities of the Wehrmacht arsenal. So those Shermans are not gonna be really any good trying to take on those Stug or even trying to force a retreat on the MG42s. So you got a flak, you got a Stug, you got 2 snipers and 2 Pumas, and you are facing barred riflemen and Shermans. Yeah, that's not gonna go well for the American player, I can tell you that right now, unless he changes something in his play. Maybe try to utilize his Shermans in the west portion of the map where the flak cannot really hit them because of the hedge in the middle, and try to take that victory point, or even use those Shermans to attempt a base rush. Once again, utilizing the west portion of the map. Not too sure how this game is gonna go if he tries to take on the Wehrmacht position head on. 2 snipers at veterans level 2 having to retreat in the face of a rifleman squad advancing towards them. However, riflemen hit a mines that have been laid throughout the map excuse me, by a Wehrmacht player, covering the path towards the central victory point, covering the east portion of the map near the Stonehouse, and for a brief moment there the American player had a window to harass the victory point, the south victory point, but the MG42 and the Volksgrenadiers promptly respond, as well as the Pumas, and they were able to force off those riflemen. 3 squads of Vet 2 Pioneers, 2 of them with minesweepers and 1 of them with flame engineers, forced retreat on a rifleman squad. And once again, I am really thinking of I see the option of the American player base rushing the Wehrmacht player as a really good thing to do. You won't be able to break the position of the Flak 88 and the Stug there with just 2 Shermans. Riflemen are next to useless against not only the MGs and the Pumas, but also against 3 snipers, so I'm not too sure how this is gonna turn out. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And while this was happening, the barracks went down, probably to the fire of the Flak, which was actually in range of those of that barracks. So there you go. For the fatherland being used, most probably to help those snipers not take any unnecessary damage. And once again, a full retreat by our American player, who has repaired his two Shermans, who has gotten the barrel upgrade for them, so their penetration is going to be a little bit better against the Stug this time around. However, it's not going to work against the Flak. 3 snipers at the front, backed up by 2 Pumas and a flame engineer, a flame pioneer, taking on those poor riflemen. And once again, Sherman's trying to take on the Stug. The Stug, however, is valiant enough to move in against those two Shermans.